Welcome, welcome to the God Talk, guys. My name is Michael Mack. This guy, Michael Koran, the guy with the
puppet.
Sock puppet.
Yep. Hi.
That's the best sock he's got.
Yes.
And so each week at this time, we get together to talk about God, talk about faith, talk about his socks. And so you've tuned in to Cambridge Community Access Television at just the right time. So we have an hour's worth of show. Michael's show is going to be this one. My show will follow. And between the two of us, between the two of our half-hour shows,
Well, about that hour.
we'll have an hour. So we're going to talk about a couple of things over this hour. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is...
Oy.
This is Michael's show. This is Michael's topic.
You wouldn't know this is my show, but imagine.
Imagine that the guy who's silent, that's his show. So, what do you got for us, Michael? What do you got to...
Well, we had, you know.
I do know. Well, you want me to talk?
Yes.
Okay. All right. See, he's goading me into continuing talking so he can be the silent Buddha.
Whoa.
Off to the side.
Oops.
So the topic of this show is, it's a celebration of life. And the question that we want to answer, it's a question that's very personal to Michael right now. The question is, what has my answer taught me?
What is my answer to it?
What has my cancer...
Wow.
That was a Freudian slip. What has my cancer taught me? Michael has cancer, and so we're going to follow this show.
No, I was at least diagnosed. It might be gone.
That's true, it might be gone. All things are possible.
And they're not sure. They saw big growth, about 2 inches on each side. Is this 2 inches? Yes. Is that true? That's 2 inches.
That's
yes?
about 2 inches, yeah.
This is inside my sinus.
Right in there. Is that right?
Yes, I don't know how it has room to fit, but it's kind of, it's like this, that's why.
And it's pressing against your eye and making one of your eyes...
Yes, although
turn
my vision has not been getting worse lately.
Oh.
It's been at least stabilized, maybe even better. You're looking great.
That's all you need to see, man. That's the only thing that matters.
That's the first thing I learned. So I get diagnosed with either, they have these not nice names.
So what is the name?
They think
Does it have OMA at the end
Yes,
of it?
yes.
Okay.
And OMA's not. OMA's good. OMA doesn't sound so good, especially if you have chondrosarcoma. That
Okay.
doesn't sound like something you'd like. You know, if you were on an OKCupid.
That's not...
OKCupid.com. My name is chondrosarcoma. Available.
So Michael is planning on signing up to OkCupid. Just as part of his celebration of life, because he is... So what you have scheduled is tomorrow, you've got another MRI, your
Yes.
second MRI, to have a look at this, because this coming Friday
Yes.
at 7 a.m. and mark your...
7:30.
7:30 a.m. and please mark your calendars.
No, I'm not going to be there. They're going to discover at my MRI tomorrow
That it's gone.
that it's gone.
Okay.
I'm glad they're discovering an MRI because I was afraid if I didn't have this, on Friday they'd be going in
With the Black and Decker.
and looking and where is it? Where?
I saw it in there somewhere.
So I am hoping. My inner voice is saying that prayers like Michael's has helped this tumor or this growth. Actually, they're not positive it's a tumor.
So that... Oh, okay.
I
So
mean, it looks like
they're seeing a mass.
Like
They're seeing a mass.
big mass.
Okay.
That's big.
Yeah, that's a chunk.
Boy, so they wanted to first go in through my sinus and then a month later probably through the back of my head.
Mm-hmm. Get it from both sides.
Yes, ouch.
Yeah, well, let's pray. So let's do that, beloved audience. Why don't we pray for a moment for Michael right now, that when he goes into the MRI tomorrow, Monday, that they will be surprised to find that it has... Here are some options. Here are some possible options. That it has shrunk.
It's grown.
That it has disappeared.
That it is bigger. That 2 inches wasn't enough.
Well, we're not asking you to pray over that.
Yes.
Or actually, if it has grown, maybe he could use her prayers even more. But we do pray for positive news tomorrow after the MRI.
No, I'm praying. Let's go for it. You're an extremist. Let's pray for it all to be gone.
Okay.
Why don't you do it now?
Okay.
Because I mean, praying on television is not really where it's at, but usually,
Well,
you people do
okay,
it.
but I have to start with a little. Not disclaimer is not the word. I have to start by saying, I am unworthy to pray.
Okay, but
And so my
No, well, you have a new guideline now. Whenever you say you're unworthy, you have to say, "I am so worthy" until you laugh. Come on, let's say it.
I am very worthy. I am so worthy.
You laughed. You're good. That's good enough. Okay, go on. Go back to being unworthy.
Okay, we'll get rid of the disclaimer and all that stuff, and just say and ask God
Wow.
in His mercy,
Wow.
in her mercy, and in her beauty, and in His grace, and in God's vast potential, that He would remove from Michael the burden of this Mass, wipe it out completely. That we can imagine it. We can imagine that now. We can imagine it be gone. And that where there was some mass in his sinus recently, now there is this expanse,
Spaciousness.
this breath. And all of the tissues within that sinus are rejuvenated by that breath, by that expanse.
Wow.
How's that?
That was beautiful.
Okay.
That's when he's worthy.
Well, all I can do is try to be worthy. I can try.
Everyone's got their hobbies. Some people like to not be worthy. You kind of can relate to yourself that way, right? You can walk around, instead of relating to me, you can say, I'm going to relate to my unworthiness.
Well, that's my lifetime project.
Yeah,
At least it has been thus far.
Keeps you safe, right? I will now create a standard I cannot live up to, and therefore focus on my not living up to a standard that I am creating. So it's a kind of a pretty airtight relationship between you and
It's hermetically sealed.
Yeah, hermetically
it's an
sealed,
enclosed
yeah.
system.
Yes, so if you gave that up.
And as you said a little bit earlier, well, that means my day's mapped out.
Yeah. So if you gave
Set the goal too high.
Yes.
Fail to reach it.
Yeah, and then complain.
Complain, fall into the abyss.
And the unworthiness really is saying that there's a dark side to unworthiness. It's saying that I have higher standards than other people have. I am so worthy that I am unworthy.
Well, I can't help.
Most people haven't gotten to that place, but I have.
Well, isn't that okay for some?
Yes.
For some who read the gospel scriptures,
Yes.
and read especially Jesus' injunction to be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect.
Oh yes, who made hurricanes and volcanoes, ice ages, exploding. You know what a supernova is?
Yeah.
A whole.
Right.
That doesn't sound.
Wipes out a whole galaxy.
Wipes out. Is it a galaxy or just a star?
Well,
I think it's just a star.
yeah, maybe it is just a star.
Yeah,
See, I failed again.
Yeah. But not compared to the star failure. That's a big thing, and they're going on every day in the galaxy.
Well, who says that's a failure? Oh, I mean, here's my trust.
Yeah.
Here's my trust that what's happening here in this world. I mean, my mama was diagnosed with schizophrenia when I was a little boy. Lived with it all her life, but was also a very religious and devout person.
Wow. Oh, she went like the mass and well, yes.
Yeah, not regularly. I mean, especially after she became ill, it was harder for her to keep track of, just day-to-day things like hygiene and stuff like that. But she said some amazing things came out of her mouth over the course of her life, and some unforgettable things. And one thing that I've never forgotten her saying is that hell is here on earth.
As she knew.
It's here on earth. We're all going to heaven. And I kind of believe that. I do believe that this, I don't know what this is. I mean, I suppose this is a proving ground or a...
Purgatory.
What's that?
Purgatory. They got rid of purgatory. Your church got rid of purgatory.
Did they?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Did they really?
They got rid of purgatory, I promise you.
Really?
Don't accuse me of not being a good Catholic. You...
Well, and so when they got rid of it, it's sort of like it became this. This is purgatory.
Yes, yes.
This is it.
They don't say that. They just say it's no longer around.
So, but I do, there is at least a part of me that believes that we're all going to heaven.
Yes.
Even those among us who have sinned magnificently
Yep.
are all going to heaven. Because, I mean, what we do, when we sin, we do it out of ignorance. Stupidity, ignorance,
Some people,
self-centeredness.
Some people do it intentionally, though. But so you have to use the word ignorant in a different way.
Yeah, well, I can't get down there in the details.
The people in Enron were saying, "Oh, yes, let's make that little grandmother in California not be able to pay her electric bill." And they were enjoying that.
But I can't help but believe that they had an illness, they had a sickness, let's say.
Yes.
You know, there was like an addiction.
They didn't realize
addictions are
how
sicknesses.
nice it is to help grandmothers. Actually, they didn't realize.
They didn't realize how much
how beautiful it is.
beauty
Yep. They didn't. They were deprived
that they can
of.
experience by helping others. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm just listening to you. But my only point really is that I like what my mama said about that we're all going to heaven.
Yes.
And that we're working it out down here for reasons I don't understand, but hopefully we trust we will know.
We're learning how to be heavenly beings. That's why.
And some would say that we came here intentionally. We signed up for this.
Yes.
It's like volunteers. I'll go down.
Why did you?
I'll go down and do the God talk, guys.
Why did you choose to be your mother's son?
That's a really good question.
Thank you. Fine.
You're worthy.
Fine.
I would say to learn compassion, to learn understanding, to learn what it's like to be the son of a mother who has a grave illness, and to be ill myself, and through my understanding and with my understanding to understand better the illness that others have. And I really do believe that ignorance is the foundation of our I don't have the language for this. I'm hoping that the language will come out before the show is over. But that ignorance itself is not a fault, but it's prideful, willful ignorance that is the fault or is the sin.
Someone accused me of willful ignorance.
Really? And what were you being so willfully ignorant of?
Most everything, myself among others. I thought I was a good person.
And have you come to the conclusion that in fact you're not a good person?
I was at a party, I was telling you.
His birthday today.
My birthday today.
His birthday. What's your age?
74.
74.
And I sang this. I thought they would like it because my neighbor loves this song.
So this was today he sang this.
And I told you before the show.
Sing it.
This is,
when everybody else was singing Happy Birthday, this is what he was singing.
And I think the title of this is called Nobody's Perfect.
Okay.
Related a song dear to a title dear to your heart.
I could sing harmony, but please go ahead.
Strangers to the human race, I'm always losing face. I'm baser than the base, a disgrace to be erased. You can identify, yes?
I've been there, man.
Yeah.
Is that the end of the song?
That's the end of the song.
And instead of the rousing applause
Yes,
that you
and
were
laughter
expecting
and laughter,
and joy,
it was silent. And I felt,
silence and staring, were people staring
no,
at each other?
these were nice people. But I felt for the next
Gawking was there?
the next 20 minutes I felt bad. And in the past I would have tried to say something to make up. I learned
To fix it.
Yes, and I didn't. I just stayed with the sad feeling, and they were talking about other things and feel like crying. And then eventually I joined in again. So I learned a lot not to try to get back in by saying something witty or smart, or
So you just sat with the feeling.
I sat with the crying and the embarrassment and the all kinds of feelings. I mean, I felt then when they were saying nice things about me, like we read your poetry every day, and I was wondering who they were talking about.
And did you say that to them?
Yes.
And was it another moment of silence, gawking?
I
and-
think they just ignored that. and learned.
It's his birthday. Let him say whatever he wants.
And then they were nice to me, and we had, and someone said this was the nicest cat. We've been doing this for 25 years. I married this couple 25 years ago.
Oh, as a justice of the peace.
Yes, and
So this is not a plural marriage. When you say that you married this couple,
oh, you mean 3 of us?
right?
There's actually, but we won't go there. Oh,
Too
no.
late. We're going there.
They're now, I think biologically, inserting into embryos some RNA from someone else to help the beginning embryo have less disease if you're predisposed. So in some ways, people could have 3 parents genetically. Okay. That
Okay, moving on. We're not here to judge or even touch something.
Well, what happens when you invite me? You're an afternoon sorry. Oh, and it was worse in the past when I tried to make up for it by doing stuff, and it just doesn't work. I'm learning to let, if we let life be, there's divinity there, right?
I believe that, and we were talking a little bit earlier, just before the show, about faith, and so much of faith is just like letting go, and you're talking about that right now. It's just like letting life be and not worrying. I mean, Jesus.
And then you join, though. There's momentum, like we're doing now. We're letting each other be.
Yeah.
In case you missed it.
Yeah.
And then we're and then there's a momentum of joining what is rather than just imposing it.
Oh, I'm so sick when it comes around. Comes to that. I
You're
so
good
want
at
to.
that.
I so want to impose.
Yes, you do. You're both,
I'm an imposer.
and you're a letter B. You're both, actually.
That's true. I guess that
Huge.
is true.
It's a big war.
A big war.
War. And you haven't.
Speaking of war.
You haven't united them.
Speaking of war, I heard this wonderful story today from somebody. I don't know where it came. I heard a wonderful story about the war within us.
Yes. Tell us again. Did we begin the show with a question? Yes. What cancer has taught us?
Yes.
Taught me.
So are we still on track? Are we answering?
Well, we're on track if by track you mean. And we remember the question. We began with.
Well, that's a start. We remembered the question. And maybe by the...
And they asked it at the beginning, which is what we're...
We asked it at the beginning. We hope to have an answer by the end. And maybe this is part of the answer. So here's the story.
Yes.
So this comes out of the Native American tradition. I'm not sure which tribe or culture, but the idea is that a grandfather and a little boy are talking. Okay, a little boy and his grandfather are talking. And the grandfather, in his wisdom, is saying that within us, we have at all times something's happening.
No, I'm just getting ready.
Okay.
Yep. Keep going.
But within us, we have 2 wolves. 2 wolves. We have a light wolf, and we have a dark wolf. And they are constantly at war or constantly in conversation. They are constantly seeking domination, seeking to dominate. One seeking to dominate the other. And for as long as we live, there's this struggle between light and dark. And the little boy says, well, grandfather, who wins? And the grandfather says, get out of the way from me. This is okay. We have to be serious for this for the end, because it's a good end. But the grandfather says, when the kid asks which one wins, the dark wolf or the light wolf, the grandfather says, the one that we feed. The one that we feed.
Gee.
So it's the one that we give energy to, that part of ourselves that we invest in. So if you could think about that as being our good self and evil self, or you could think of it as being our bright self and upbeat self versus our downbeat self. But there is but all of the parts of ourselves are offering themselves as offerings, yeah. And the question is, when we go to this buffet with all of these different tasty, sumptuous, all of these victuals, these light victuals and these dark victuals, which one are we going to take?
Well, no, we need to listen to the dark guys. The dark guys are great. They have so much to teach us. This is the show is I'm listening to my cancer.
Yeah.
It has taught me, number one, what you were saying. I didn't really get it when people were in pain. One of my friends actually stopped being my friend because she told me she had breast cancer. I didn't even remember. That was it. She was tough. I mean, not kind. You know, she could have called again and said, hey, ask what you want. But I somehow did not want to, when my friends were dying, I kind of didn't really go see them, hardly at all. I just didn't want to deal with that. And so finally, this is the third cancer I've been diagnosed with, I finally got to this. My friend used to say, life is a relentless instructor. If you don't get the lesson the first time, you'll get it again and again.
Okay, I've got a question for you then.
Yes.
And the question is, in the last 4 minutes of our show,
yes,
in which we wrap up and answer the question.
I answered one answer. Right?
Okay.
Yes, but there's many more.
The question that I have for you is, what did you just say?
I said that the cancer taught me to feel finally,
Oh, the lessons. That if you don't get the lesson the first time, you'll keep getting it.
And I finally.
So here's the question.
Yes.
The question is it just solved? Once you get the lesson, once you get the instruction,
yes.
Is it solved? Is this like poof?
That could be with your prayer. It could be. I had many more things to teach me. Many more. I don't have time, but I could sum it up very quickly. One, it taught me to look. I had double vision, which is why they went in to discover what was going on. And I've learned to see that people are beautiful. The way Van Gogh can look at someone's boots, right, and see the beauty in them. I've learned you can really choose, what you were saying, choose to feed. If I look at you, you're beautiful anyway, but if I think of what you mean to me, oh my Lord, are you beautiful. So that's number two, to learn to look. I didn't see really. Guys can look at some women and see, oh, you're beautiful, and you're not see that they all have certain essential ingredients that are very beautiful. That's just number two. So I learned to feel the pain of other people, to see that they're beautiful, and more. I was trying to heal it with light, because I can feel light in my... And I was listening to the 4% universe. And most of the universe...
The 4% universe?
Yes, most of the universe is dark matter and dark energy, keeping it together. And it's customary to think of the universe as beginning with the Big Bang. That's not true. There was a big spaciousness before the bang. Whatever, we don't even understand what it is, but scientists don't either. But it came from some unknown, can't even call it emptiness, but some unknown. And that.
So there was something before the Big Bang. Is
yeah,
that what?
they can't go there because they can only go
Right,
up to
right.
it. But I can feel in what they call in Buddhism the void, or I can now feel that I'm not just this energy from the Big Bang or even light. That there's a dark void that I've hidden from, and that's and the Buddhists will say this repeatedly. That spaciousness or nothing, that's where we come from, and not to be afraid of it. So I learned that too. It was just so much to learn from this cancer.
Had a guest on the show a few weeks ago, a friend of mine who, and I'll have to say this in about 15 seconds, she had a medical issue when she was around 30. And there was a period of several months where she lived in this great spaciousness that she never experienced
same
before
thing,
or since.
Exactly the same.
Yeah, it's this expanse. That's what she called it. It was an expanse.
Yes, and there's a wonderful book called The Journey by Brendan Bass, which is about that. For just healing anything, don't be afraid of the void. There was one longshoreman who said, most of us are afraid of the nothing inside. It's so hard to hide from what isn't there.
We have 5 seconds to say goodbye.
Thank you.
See you in 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Thank you. That wasn't bad.
That was pretty good. That was fun.
Yes. Wow.
So you guys are doing the second half, right?
Yes. I'm going to leave that. Oh, no, we're taking this out. You'll finalize this.